The OKC Thunder would host the Mavericks for Game 5 after tying up the series at 2 apiece. Luka and Kyrie haven't had their usual magic scoring the ball in this series, but Dallas's defense is what makes them a contender in a world full of pretenders. Welcome to Bucket Team, and today we're going to get things started in Oklahoma City, where Charles Barkley all but guaranteed a Dallas dub.
Oh, another banger for Dallas! It's Lively off the special delivery.
Oklahoma City would start this game out rebounding the Mavs, which is a very odd feeling for Dallas to have, and a very rare one at that, as Oklahoma would shoot 3 after 3 and get long rebounds and tip it out to guys for second chance opportunities, whether that was another shot or a dunk or just a better look in general. Oklahoma City was getting that at the beginning of this game, but very quickly the Mavs would turn to their first quarter and really their first half hero in Derrick Jones Jr. This man had 15 points on 6 of 6 shooting and 3 of 3 behind the arc. This guy is absolutely thriving in this Dallas environment. He has been doing it all season, and he's no different in the playoffs, where you're seeing him being set up by the Dallas creators in Luka and Kyrie, getting wide open threes. You're seeing him get to the rim, make cuts, and Luka is finding him for lob after lob. On a team with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving on it, the defense has no choice but to collapse, and Oklahoma City is doing just that, leaving guys like Derrick Jones Jr. wide open for threes and dunks, cuts to the rim, and he's even added this push shot to his game. He hit one over Chet earlier in the first quarter, and it's really allowed him to maximize his potential in this Dallas offense, and you're seeing it on display on a nightly basis now during these playoffs, but especially during this series against the Oklahoma City Thunder. On the defensive end, OKC shot 0 for 8 on Derrick Jones Jr. contests, and it just goes to show you his incredible value on the defensive end for the Dallas Mavericks. You see how he can switch onto 4s, 3s, guards, point guards, shooting guards. It doesn't matter if he's switching on a Shai, or heck, he can even switch on a Chet on certain occasions and absolutely be a lockdown. This guy's defensive value is through the roof at the moment, and it's on display every night in this series particularly, but it's been that way the entire season for the Mavericks, and it's really being shown on the biggest stage right now for all the world to see. And the dude setting up Derrick Jones for all these incredible opportunities, Luka Doncic, was on a mission tonight, shooting 12 of 22 from the field and 5 of 11 from 3. He commanded his shot tonight with a bad knee, a bad ankle, a sore Achilles, whatever, you name it. He got through it. He would put on a dominant display. He got whatever he wanted. He was talking trash to OKC's front row. And Luka's defensive discipline on these Shai ISOs is getting more and more polished by the game during this series. The biggest thing for the Mavs is that there is zero defensive liability on the court at all times, because Luka and Kyrie have stepped up their defensive effort in massive ways that this team maybe could have never seen, but they've done it, and now they're out here locking teams up that have some of the best offenses in the league during the regular season. Dallas becoming Lob City 2.0 wasn't on a lot of people's bingo card at the beginning of the season, but it is here to stay, and it's made its way to the playoffs too, and Dereck Lively is the biggest beneficiary of all of it, as he's catching lobs from Luka, Jaden Hardy, and others, even 3/4 court lobs from Luka, where he's already jumping before Lively even catches the pass, always ready to throw it down whenever the ball is in the air. I would also be shortchanging Dereck Lively if I didn't talk about his defense, because he is truly a two-way impact, and his plus-minus in this series is astronomical, and his impact on the court, every single second he's on the court, is huge. Mark Dagnall tries to hack-a-shack him, and he goes to the line and hits 5 of 6. What more can you ask for this dude? He's stepping up on offense, he's been in the right spots, he's chilling in the dunker spot, and Luka's hitting him every time. He's incredible on defense. He deters Shai's shots when he gets in the paint, Jalen Williams shots when he gets in the paint. He can test guys on the perimeter, he can stay with guys, and when they try and go around him, he can get a recovery and contest or even block shots. It's huge what you're seeing from him just as a rookie, and his impact is already incredible just from a guy who's 20 years old. We got to talk about the Kyrie Irving element of things, because man, it just confuses the crap out of me, because I don't know if this dude is deferring or if he's just calculating his moves a little differently, because he had 12 points in this game, but you don't think of Kyrie and think of a 12-point per game kind of guy. And this hasn't happened just once in this series. He's had 9 points multiple times in this series, and it kind of boggles my mind why this dude is just so unaggressive in the first halves of these games. And I understand that he's looking to get his guys easy points and get them in a rhythm, and I understand that. But when you're Kyrie and you have these looks in the fourth quarter, I think back to game 4, and he's taking these fadeaways that he normally hits over guys like Chet. Doesn't matter who's in front of him. This guy is so skilled with the basketball. He gets a shot over anyone, and he has the touch around the mid-range and around the rim to get any shot he wants to go down. But Kyrie doesn't take these shots in the first half, and then when he gets to the fourth quarter, he's taking all these shots for the first time, and then when they're off, well, how can you blame him? Because he's never had a single reference throughout that game to see, okay, how are they going to play me? How are they not going to play me? And if Kyrie hits a couple shots in game 4 down the stretch that he normally hits, they might win that game. But now you're in a tough spot where it's like, oh, Kyrie waits till the fourth quarter to get going. How as a Mavs fan are you supposed to feel with Kyrie being so unaggressive? You're up 3-2 in the series, and it's a huge deal because this OKC team is absolutely no joke. But I don't see how you win a championship if Kyrie is just going to be so nonchalant scoring the ball in the first half of these games if you're trying to win a championship and beat teams like Denver and Boston and so on. When Tim Hardaway Jr. pops up on my screen, it is actually agonizing to watch. Just roll the damn tape.
We're under a minute to go in this opening quarter. Hardaway missed it badly off the top of the backboard. Gafford there for the rebound. Shot clock is down to 8. We're down to 25 seconds to go in the first. Hardaway lines it up. Off the mark.
The Mavs are consistently getting big contributions from the supporting cast, and that's why they're up 3-2 in this series. Something that stood out from the OKC point of view is that they just don't have enough creators, and it's becoming very apparent in this roster as currently constructed. You're starting to see the lack of offensive creation from guys on their roster outside of Shai and maybe J-Dub. OKC has a bright future ahead of them, but if they really want to propel themselves to a championship team, they just have to address that in the offseason. You're going to see teams like the Celtics, like the Nuggets, heck, maybe even the Mavericks, start to show why guys off the bench being able to create is so important for your team. And Oklahoma City has a great supporting cast around Shai. They have guys that can knock down shots like Kasem Wallace, like Isaiah Joe. They have guys that can shoot, Wiggins, like all of these guys that can shoot, get to the rim, do all the stuff that a 3-and-D wing should be able to do. But when you talk about guys creating offense, it's just Shai and maybe J-Dub, and that's it. And OKC is really starting to crumble under that pressure when you're asking guys like Josh Giddey to start creating offense like a Shai would. Back to the Mavs perspective, you're kind of starting to see the parallels between this series and the Clippers series that happened in round 1. I don't know what the deal is with Jason Kidd in game 1s, but he sucks at them. That's got to change for the Mavs. They've got to be better in game 1 to start series. It's just plain and simple. But you're starting to see just how similar both of these series have been. You start game 1 and it's a blowout loss, and you think, oh wow, what are we going to do? You got to make huge adjustments. And then they make them in game 2, and they come back and win and take control of home court. And then you go to game 3 and they protect home court in a dominant fashion. And then they get to game 4 and then they lose a close one. And then they get to game 5 and it's like, oh, we're back. And then game 6, or at least in the last series, they absolutely put the final nail in the coffin on the Clippers. But this OKC team has a different pep in their step, and it might not have the same results when they go back home and try and protect home court. But this Mavericks team has experience on their side that this OKC team just does not have, not just from the player side of things, but from the coaching side of things as well. And it's going to be huge for them going into the last 2 games of this series. This series has been a fun one, to say the least. No one would be surprised if this series went 7. But if it does end in 6, I know it'll be a dogfight. And the other side of the bracket, while they look as formidable as ever, Denver and Minnesota are wearing each other out. And this Mavericks team and this Thunder team have a lot to play for, and nobody wants to see these cats in a 7-game series. So look out.